Alright, sleep ain't happening for me. And I was woken abruptly today. It's like 4 in the morning. I got a call, and I forgot to silence my phone. And it was my friend Matt calling, and I picked up. I was like, dude, I finally got to sleep. And I picked up, and I just heard like the sound of scruffling. And he went, hello? I said, dude, what do you want? And he went, oh, I must have butt dialed you. And I was like, butt dial someone else, dude. I'm in withdrawal, you idiot. 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 Alright. This is what I want you to do today. And I'm kind of going on the help people by helping yourself. That's what they do in NA apparently. So I want you to do something that involves just 3 pieces of paper and maybe a pen. I want you to get 3 pieces of paper. I did this morning. I did it frantically. Like, my handwriting's pretty bad. And I want you to write the plan. I want you to make a short-term plan, a midterm, and then a long-term. Because often when we quit stuff, you're kind of just lost in space. You have to relearn habits. You have to relearn to do stuff sober, which is easier said than done. And if you don't have a plan, you're screwed, man. You're gonna be screwed. And physically writing it out is good. And I've talked about the X effect before. Real quick, let me show you this. My room is trash, man. I gotta clean this today. So, in 2021, I've always done this. I created a wall of success. And I started doing this thing, I don't know if you could see that, where I would X off certain things, like 30 minutes play and sing music, read, all that. And look at all those weeks I got done. Boom, 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 boom. So if you want to start jogging or reading for an hour a day, that's one thing I'm always trying to do, read, because I want to be smart. But it's so hard to read. I'm like, if it's not YouTube, I'm like, oh, this is awful. But if you write something down and then you say, okay, I'm going to do it physically, I'm going to do it, and then I'm going to exit off, you start to build good habits and you feel very proud.
I'm gonna make you proud, Daddy. I'm gonna make you so proud. You're gonna be so proud.
And accomplished. So, you gotta start with the short-term plan, which is basically get me through this day even. And I started it by writing, God, I'm sleepy. Goal, my objective for my short-term plan, this is just the first piece of paper, is to learn to consistently get through each day sober. Easier said than done. Pros and cons. The pros, mental peace, responsibility and consistency. 3, I wrote be a man. And the cons, I just wrote, let's see if you can see this. I just wrote cons. It hurts a lot. But you gotta learn to start living with pain. And honestly, here I am at day 9. I could work if I needed to. Like, it would suck, but I could, but I'm not gonna do that. And I wrote things I can actively do to succeed. Exercise daily. I always preach about running 3 times a day, but I haven't been doing that. Attend meetings. I swear, like I said, we're lost in space right now. If you start going to meetings, I swear it bumps up your success rate to like 60%. And what you're supposed to do is do 90 and 90, go to 90 meetings in 90 days. So do that. Eat healthy, vlog, pray. And I wrote in big circle, I wrote, get a sponsor. I've never done that before. I don't want to do it. Every time I start going to meetings, you kind of start talking to people, and you're like, can you be my sponsor? And they're like, oh, I'm kind of busy right now. They're always busy. And I don't like bothering people. I don't want to text people or call them every time I want to go use something. Dude, I'm in rough shape. Oh my God, I've gotten such little sleep that I'm kind of going crazy in a way. And then you got to write things that would make me fail. And these are the things that would make me fail on my short-term plan. Number one, being a lazy slob who binge watches YouTube all day. I swear, I'm so addicted to YouTube. Like, it's concerning. I think YouTube is a really... nobody talks about how, like, bad YouTube... YouTube is basically designed to keep you on it. Like, and I was talking to a friend the other day who's a little bit younger than me. He's a Zoomer. And I said, how often are you on your computer? And he's like, dude, all day. And I'm friends with a good amount of boomers. Well, I don't have that many boomers. And they're like, what's that? Internet? They don't know. And I'm like, dude, I'm a millennial, man. I've grown up on the internet. I'm always on the internet. My eyes are always looking at bright fluorescent lights. So, what was I talking about? Things that would make me fail. 2, associating with known addicts, which I don't know that many. Skipping meetings, which I'll probably do. Eating unhealthy. I'm going to start just eating cucumbers and stuff. And not doing my X effect, where you do the thing and then you cross it out on the list. So that's the short-term plan. That's the immediate future. This week, next week. This is going to be the hardest part because early sobriety sucks. There's no way around it. But like I said in another video, somebody left a comment. They wrote, you can't just sit around waiting to feel better. You have to accept that you're going to be uncomfortable for a bit. And the way that I've managed to cope with this is I keep telling myself, just want pain. Just like get excited for the chills. Be like, yes. And if you wake up with 30 minutes of sleep, be like, yes, that's what I wanted. I learned, because I'm a chronic insomniac, that trying to go to sleep is almost the antithesis to actually getting sleep. And one thing you got to really avoid is dark rooms with screens. Like, if you're watching YouTube at night, have another light on. Because I think sitting in a dark room and looking at a computer or a phone screen is really bad for insomnia. Alright, I'm going to take a break. Alright, moving on to the second sheet of paper, the midterm. And by the way, for some reason, I have a bunch of binders. And I'm really into this self-improvement stuff. Every time I do something like this, or I start writing things down or making lists, I write my favorite quote by Jack Kerouac, the author. I promise I shall never give up, and I will die yelling and laughing. That's my favorite quote. I think it sums up my personality to the utmost degree. My midterm goal. This is sounds really petty and minuscule, but my midterm goal is to be working steadily, sober, and I want to save up for an entire home studio of really good equipment. So, I've been writing music for years, and I'm at the point where I don't know how to record properly, like at all. I know people that they know how to hook their guitar and stuff into their computer, and it sounds perfect. But me, I'm still putting my mic up to amps. It's a mess. If you listen to some of my studio album stuff, it's just like the strumming is off, like, because I don't use metronomes. So I need to save up about $3,000 or $4,000, and I need to buy audio interfaces, good mics, podcasting equipment that's like real and good, and maybe even get what are those, Apple computers or something? And I want to get a nice camera and just basically a home studio that I have for life that I can use for my creative endeavors, and I will always have it because I'm sick of pawning stuff. Like, I pawned my guitar a couple months ago, And I just played my niece's children's guitar for months. Like, I can't be doing that no more. So the pros: have it for life. I just said that. Pride, and I'll feel accomplished. And I can slowly segue into not working. It's getting really hard to work, mainly because active addiction. I always put it this way, like every job I've had, and right now I'm like cutting into my savings. I'm actually starting to panic a little bit, but no, I'll be okay. I rent out to people. If I wanted to, if I kept renting to people and I just ate like ramen and lettuce, I'd be able to survive, I think. So I need, we're going to get into the long-term plan soon, but I need to not work anymore. The past 2 jobs I had were such failures because I was either constantly high or like in withdrawal and not sleeping, and that is impossible to maintain a life like that. And that's my main propellant for wanting to get sober this time. And I'm so happy I'm actually succeeding mildly. But I was working at like a deli, and the boss, sweet lady, she had a son. And this guy was such a douche. He reminded me of a PC Principal from South Park. Like, he was kind of buff and wore backwards hats. And, like, he would just walk around and yell at people. And I hated this guy all day, every day. And also, the boss treated me like a retard. I have ADD or something. Like, it's really hard for me to focus. It takes me a long time to learn things. But when I do learn them, I'm pretty good at doing them eventually. It just takes me time. And I think my nerves get the best of me. Well, one morning I'm working, and this lady's walking around, ordering me around, telling me I have ADD, making fun of me, which is fine. Totally, you can do that. But when you, what's that word? Micromanage people and stare at them while you're training them to work and keep insulting them, they're gonna crack. And I did. I was like making little cups of coleslaw or something, and she was like micromanaging everything I was okay, this is what I was doing. I had to use this printer machine to print out prices, and it was hard to rip it off. And she's just staring at me doing it. And of course, I'm ripping it in half, doing it wrong. And I'm thinking the whole time, if you walked away and let me do this by myself, I'd do it fine. And she's insulting me constantly. And finally, I just gave her a look. I gave her the Manson lamps. Like, bitch, if you keep nudging me, like, I'm going to scream. And she looked at me and got really nervous, and I felt bad that I did that, but I got fired for a look, for giving that lady a look. Like, for the rest of the day, she was, like, making jokes. She was, like, I had a box cutter to open boxes, and she's like, you gonna stab me with that? And I'm like, dude, no, I'm not a violent person. So it's not working out. But if I do remain sober, I think my mind will be more consistent, and I'll be able to do things better. Things that would make me fail. And remember, we're on the midterm plan. The short term is like the next 2 months. The midterm is like the next year. And then we'll get to the long term. Things that would make me fail. Quitting jobs out of rage. I've done that more times than I can count. 2, relapse, obviously. 3, stop attending meetings. I'm going to start going to meetings today. I said in like my second video, I said I'm not going to go to meetings during the detox phase because I've done that so many times and it makes me fail. I want to wait until I'm like out of the acutes, and so I can tell myself like, hey, at least I'm taking it seriously now. Now I can start doing the work. So that's the midterm plan, and I signed it at the bottom because I'm, articulate. All right. Now we're in the long-term plan. Goal, and I'm telling you what, this is my whole life goal, is be my own boss, work for myself, doing something artistic and creative. That's all I want. I don't want riches. I just want I do all these things. Like, I'm constantly starting books and only having the first chapter. I make music. I make rant videos. I make a podcast. I do a lot of stuff. And I have done YouTube for 2 years now. Like, I know how to edit, which is awesome. I know how to edit and I know how to make thumbnails. I saw a comment the other day. Somebody said, if you have a YouTube channel, that's essentially like having your own business. And it's kind of tricky, like making thumbnails and editing and copyright and knowing all that. So I get a lot of pride and satisfaction from making videos. Another thing is I'm super like proud that every day I've made a video. And here's the thing is, these are simply made videos. Like, I just think of ideas, record, edit. I can do that really quickly. For some reason, doing long editing and making, that's getting harder to do. So I like doing this a little more. Pros, the ultimate sanity. 2, I can make something for myself, i.e. cut out a slice of the pie for myself. Cons, okay, so this is going to be kind of weird to explain. The only cons of my long-term plan, cancellation. So it feels like a spell has been cast on the world. Hold on, I'm going to get a cigarette. So it feels like there's been a spell cast on the world where censorship is at such an all-time high, specifically tech censorship. But not only that, is people are censoring themselves. You can see it. Like, if you watch podcasts, people are just nervously tiptoeing around saying the wrong thing. But here's my ordeal is, on my dumb podcast nobody watches, I've already said enough outrageously offensive shit to the point where I'm like, while I'm editing it, I'm like, man, maybe I should cut that. That's kind of like dodgy. And then eventually I just said, fuck it. I'm going to say what I want from now on. I can't be hurt. I almost have nothing to lose, essentially. And if and when it happens, if I get more views and then people clip some shit, fuck it. Fuck them. The only way to beat it, they can't cancel all of us. So, in times of universal deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act. That was kind of a little side rant. Things I can actively do to succeed. Not give up, push out, or relapse. Be careful with my money. Patreon, potentially, maybe. And to have a good work ethic that here's my thing, is I have to relearn to do everything sober. So when I hit week 2, and this is getting very difficult because I'm not sleeping, I have to wake up and say, all right, Brandon, edit a video for an hour. 20 minutes. Start with 20 minutes. Just do it every day. Show up every day. And because I hate to admit it, I associate drugs with productivity. Like, I'm always Adderall, stuff like that. Right now, I'm like, dude, I took a couple gabs and that's it. I'm gonna take a break for a couple days. My muscles still hurt, but it eases the pain a little. Just be careful with it because it's addictive. So that is my long-term goal, is to work for myself, doing something creative. And if I can't make money on YouTube, which I'm not even really trying to, maybe I can do like Patreon or something. I don't know what I'll do. Work on documentaries and films. I'm making a documentary about Benadryl addiction. I said that in another video though, but I've been putting off working on that. I have like 10 minutes done, and I'm thinking about scrapping it because the video is like 6 minutes of intro. I'm like talking about nothing, and I worked so hard on it, but I think I have to cut it. So that's that. I want you to do that. Make 3 pieces of paper, short term, midterm, long term. As for the withdrawal, today I'm sweating. A lot of pain in my arm area. My back hurts. I'm not sleeping. Idiot butt dialed me awake. Now I'm awake. But I jumped out of bed. And I said, screw it, make a morning video.